why does Japanese have so many different writing systems? Now, for a lot of people watching, you might not know what Japanese actually looks like. I mean, you could simply go online and search and stuff like this, but here's a good tip for recognizing what Japanese looks like. You're going to have one set of hiragana, which are the curvy shaped letters, and they're quite simple, just a few strokes inside of each letter, and then you have another set, the squarish type, which are the katakana ones, which you use for the foreign words.
Right.
And then the next set is your Chinese character set. Now, the Chinese characters are often more complex. So what you get are these three different writing systems mixed into a single sentence. So one thing that I notice a lot of people ask is, how can you tell the difference between Japanese, Korean, and Chinese if you've never learned these languages?
I started to recognize the differences, the main differences between the three languages. For example, for Chinese, I noticed that it was all about like really complex blocks. So
Yes,
it looked very,
yes.
like a lot of blocks of, even it looks a little bit darker on the screen when you had a big text in a long text in Chinese.
So here's an interesting statistic, though. In Japanese, you'll rarely see more than 8 Chinese characters in a row.
And I could recognize a little bit. I started to recognize, to know it was Japanese when it looked a little bit more clear.
So here's a hard thing about Japanese is that whenever you have this Chinese character showing up in the language, there could be anywhere from like a couple to a dozen different readings or pronunciation of that character. So it's really hard to learn Japanese from the writing system and learn your vocabulary that way. It's probably better to learn how to speak the language first and then say, well, this is how you write it.
Right.
Because then you're familiar with the sounds of the language. All the verbs, they'll have specific kanji that they'll use. But the funny thing is that these kanji are used in so many different situations, the same kanji shape, but it'll have different pronunciations in other places. So it's actually harder to learn it from the kanji character and then learn all the pronunciations. It's actually easier to learn how to speak using that verb and that noun, and then say, oh, it uses that same character.
That's my experience with Chinese too. Like I remember at the beginning I really tried to learn I wanted to learn all the characters at the same time that I was learning the language. But one of my teachers actually at some point told me, just you don't have to know how to write the characters. Just kind of try to learn the words, maybe recognize the character. You can read them, but you don't have to waste your time learning how to write them first. It reminds me that we actually can recognize, when now you have on the phones, you have some apps, some games that it's about recognizing, to try to find out logo and then for, like, which brand they are related to. So you have to guess, this logo, which brand it is, and a lot of people are really good at this. So we know which logo, like for example the different kind of famous brands, what it means. We can actually draw the logo. We can see it and know what it is.
Ask me to draw these logos, impossible, right? Yeah, but we were able to recognize them.
We're able to recognize them.
Learning how to read Chinese or Japanese characters or kanji is not as hard as you think.
Yes.
It's just a simple matter of recognizing what's being said there. And you have context in the sentence, you can usually figure it out. So, all right, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next session.